this roster predicting thing has really gotten big, hasn't it? With just every kind of fighting game or any kind of collaboration, roster predicting is just so much fun. And I just want to throw my hat in with this Smash Run because it's such an interesting stance to be, not stance, but like a place to be in, because I'm going to share my own personal opinion real quick. I don't think it's a completely new Smash game. I do think it's somewhere, but I don't think it's a port either, but I think it's somewhere in the middle between a port and a new game, where it's an enhanced version of Smash for Wii U. So it's definitely going to be a very similar game, but they're probably going to tweak a lot of things and, of course, add a new things like the Inkling. So it's definitely not a fully fledged new game, like the jump from like 64 to Melee, Melee to Brawl, Brawl to Smash 4, but it's not going to be a big leap like that, but I do think it's going to be an improvement. They're going to change a lot of things, but probably based on a lot of feedback from us on YouTube and gamers just saying, hey, this needs to change, this needs to change. I don't think it's going to be Melee HD like a lot of people want, but I do think they're going to be making some changes, especially with a couple of characters that we're going to be talking about. They're going to be updating a lot of things. I think this is just pretty much, it's like almost a update patch, and it's not really a new game. It's going to be a new update and some new things like an Inkling. But anyway, there's a lot to talk about, and this is already going to be a long video, and we're already a minute in. Let's just get started. So, excuse the poor graphics. I am not a graphics person, so bear with me in my MS Paint. So, we're going to stick with a couple guidelines here. We're just going... I made it to where the characters are at least have 4 representations if they have a decent-sized franchise of characters to work with. Obviously, the bigger ones like Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon are going to have more than that because they are Nintendo's biggest franchises and they have a lot of characters to work with. And then smaller characters, not characters, but like franchises like Pikmin, Kid Icarus, are going to probably... They're going to stick with their own ones. I don't think there's really going to be any additions. So anyway, so let's get started. Let's start with the biggest one, obviously, the Mario franchise. We're just going to bring back everyone, because why change anything? But actually, let's stick with Mario real quick. We are going to see an updated Mario. That's why I have a picture of Odyssey from him here. Is he's probably going to get updated to a Odyssey-inspired moveset, because we really need to get rid of that FLUDD. That FLUDD is so useless. I mean, I love Super Mario Sunshine. It's probably my favorite Mario game. I still don't know if Odyssey beats it or not, but it needs to go. It's so useless. But Cappy helps him so much. It diverses moves. Like, it's pretty much written in Odyssey how he can be improved in Smash from Odyssey. But we're gonna bring back Luigi. Maybe we can add some more Poltergeist vacuum into his moveset instead of just his final Smash. Well, they did do a pretty decent job of changing him from Mario in Smash 4, but I feel like maybe you could do more, or maybe you don't even really need to now that Mario's going to be really revamped with his Odyssey moveset. Maybe Luigi can just stay how he is. So let's just keep Peach, we'll keep in Yoshi, keep in Rosalina, keep Bowser, even Bowser Jr., and we're also going to keep Wario, but then we're going to add in Waluigi. We need to add in Waluigi. It just seems so odd to have Wario in the game, but not Waluigi. I mean, I get it because Wario has his own franchise in the WarioWare and the Wario Land games. So, I mean, it makes sense, but it just seems so odd. And I mean, you can do a Waluigi moveset. I mean, he is mostly in the sports games. He was created for the sports games. So have him have his racket, base his moveset around that. Maybe the other sports games that he's been in. It's possible. It just feels like an incomplete set not to have Waluigi there. And just to add to the Mario franchise, we have to add Captain Toad. Toad has always been a part of the franchise, never really represented except for in Peach's moveset. But now we have an actual character that has, like, actually take on a thing of his own. Like, he is a representative own character. Like, he's his own entity now with Captain Toad and Treasure Tracker. He got his own game, for goodness sake. So there's a lot you can do with Captain Toad's moveset. I mean, he can pluck things. He has his pickaxe. He has... he has his minecart. You could possibly even move the moveset. I know there's a lot of talk about... It's stated in the games he can't jump because of how heavy his backpack is. So either give him a terrible jump or... Actually, what I thought of, maybe he rides in a minecart and the minecart can bounce. Because, you know, like in all those minecart games, they always have like a jump feature, especially in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Do something similar. He rides in a minecart and he can jump up. That's how he can get around. But there's just a lot you can do. Actually, even Game Explain gave an interesting thing. Little magic carpet. He can fly on one of those. So he doesn't necessarily have to jump. He just has to have a move that brings him something that he can jump with. So there's a lot you can do there. So Toad needs to get represented. So let's move on to the next one. Oh, I just wanted to bring this up. Someone brought this up in another video, and I thought it was really smart. Let's get rid of Dr. Mario, replace him with a different Mario clone in Paper Mario. But he's not a clone, though, because Paper Mario has such a unique, different style than the rest of the Mario games. He can have a completely new moveset, and he's not a clone. This is my objective with this roster, is to avoid clones. I know that they're gonna happen because Sakurai loves to add them at like the last minute as like they were costumes, but it's like, hey, let's just tweak some stats around and add in some padding of characters and clones. I mean, it's not a terrible idea, it's just we don't need as many as we got in Smash 4. But Paper Mario is an interesting possibility to add to the Mario franchise because he's even kind of separate. I mean, the Paper Mario franchise is so different than the rest of the Mario franchise. It almost feels like it should be represented in some kind of way. So get Paper Mario in there, so he's another Mario character, but he's not because he has his own unique moveset. So let's go on to The Legend of Zelda, next biggest franchise. So we already can tell from the teaser trailer that Breath of the Wild Link is going to be the new representation with hopefully a new moveset, which it's obviously what inspired Mario also getting a new moveset, I can't talk, based on his newer games. Now, I actually came with a really interesting idea here. Now, follow me here real quick. You get Link and you get Zelda based on Breath of the Wild. Update their movesets, update their looks, and keep them as that, and get them like that. But for the rest of the characters, you get Sheik. You keep her as a Twilight Princess representation, because she doesn't really appear in Breath of the Wild. But if you want some more Twilight Princess, because Twilight Princess is a big, popular entry in the series, maybe add Midna as a newcomer. Midna's iffy. You can leave her out, you can add her in, but I do think she could be the Twilight Princess representation, and older, like in the games that she did appear in. And then add Ganondorf in there. Obviously revamp him. We need Ganondorf revamped. Stop it with this Captain Falcon clone nonsense. I'd say base him off of Hyrule Warriors, so then you even have a Hyrule Warriors representation. And then you keep Toon Link, because now Toon Link, if he keeps his moveset and then Breath of the Wild Link gets a new moveset, they're not technically clones anymore. Toon Link can keep the original moveset. Breath of the Wild Link gets updated. And now you have a proper representation of the Wind Waker series with Toon Link. Granted, you could update his moveset to be a little more accurate to the Wind Waker series, but I digress. So now, with this roster of 5 to 6 characters, you could have representation of a multitude of Legend of Zelda games with each character. So let's move on to Pokemon. Of course, we got Pikachu, we got Jigglypuff, all returning. It's like I almost want to cut Jigglypuff because she just isn't important anymore, but there is like this rule among the fans that I just don't understand, but I'll run with it for now. But there is this thing called the Sacred 12 where you will not cut the original 12 characters from Super Smash Bros. 64, and unfortunately Jigglypuff falls into that. So yeah, I would cut her instantly, put another Pokemon in, but she's too sacred, apparently. So we'll add in Charizard, because I do like what they did with his character. Maybe update his moveset a little bit. Having Rock Smash just did not make sense for Charizard, so update his moveset a little bit to be a little more in tune with who a Charizard is. And then we keep Lucario because he is a fan favorite Pokemon. A lot of people thought he was going to get replaced in Smash 4 with Zoroark or someone else, but now Lucario's stuck around just because of how unique and popular the Pokemon is. We're going to keep Mewtwo because it's Mewtwo. He's, besides like Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo is up there as among one of the fan favorite Pokemon. And the outcry that he got for when he was not announced for Smash 4, I think, really pushed to, like, it maybe taught Sakurai, maybe I shouldn't cut this character again. So I do think they might keep Mewtwo. And then we're going to get a new representation, most likely Decidueye. Granted, there is a small possibility of a Gen 8 Pokemon, like what happened with Greninja, but I do think Greninja's going to get cut. Because while he is a very popular Pokemon, he never reached the status that Lucario and Mewtwo had. So I do think he has a possibility of getting cut for someone like Decidueye or a possible Gen 8, but someone did bring up that the development times between Gen 8 and this new Smash game probably doesn't line up to where they could give Sakurai information about a Gen 8 Pokemon. Granted, if the stories are true that I heard that Sakurai only got like sketches of Greninja to do the move to make him as a character. That could happen again. That they just got some rough sketches and some ideas of the Gen 8 starters, and then that's all he needed to make a moveset. So it's possible, but until that happens, I'm just going to say either Decidueye or a Gen 8 representation is going to go in that slot. Plus, keeping Jigglypuff and Mewtwo around also sticks with the Pokemon theme. We have 6 representation Pokemon, and there's 6 Pokemon usually on a team. So I like how that works out. It's like you have 6 Pokemon on a team, you have 6 Pokemon in your Smash Brothers. So another big franchise, Grant I don't know a whole lot about, but stick with me. So we got Marth, we got to keep Marth. We're going to keep Roy just because once it falls into that Mewtwo thing, then maybe it's just the nostalgia Meleeers, but Roy I think is not going to get cut again just because of his demand. I do think Ike will return because once again, they're representing different parts of the Fire Emblem series. And then we're gonna cut Robin. Unfortunately, I do like Robin as a character, but I do think that character slot is gonna fall into whatever is newer, or at least something different. Or it's like he was cool at the time. Okay, let's go do something else now. Like you get your staples like Marth, Roy, and Ike, and then you add someone different. So we're gonna cut. I almost said Chrom. He was already cut. So we cut Robin. We cut Lucina because, well, Lucina could come back as a clone. I'm not gonna talk about clones though. But then we add in Hector. I don't know much about Hector, but a couple of people recommended this character on their list. One, because I guess he's kind of popular a little bit, and he is represented in the Fire Emblem series. And also because he's an axe wielder, which would definitely differentiate himself from the rest of the Fire Emblem characters, and which is what we need. We don't need another character like Marth, Roy, and Lucina, so get an axe-wielding character like Hector in there. Granted, also Hector can also be taken out there for the next Fire Emblem, because I know another Fire Emblem another Fire Emblem game is coming out soon, so they could also put that character in like Corrin. Then we're going to move on to Donkey Kong. We're going to have Donkey Kong, we're going to have Diddy back. And I think it's finally time to add Dixie. I don't know how you can differentiate her moveset besides the little spinning pigtail. Don't know, but I think it's finally time. And then just to round it out, just because of the attention he's gotten lately, we can add Funky Kong. So that's definitely a possibility. I mean, you can add a surfboard into his moveset. Just watching the footage from Tropical Freeze could give you an indication of what he could be like in Smash. So, Funky Kong is a possibility. Oh, I just thought maybe Dixie could just be a Diddy clone. Like, she could finally be added, but unfortunately there's not much to work with moveset-wise to make her a clone. There's almost a clone in there for you guys. So adding into the Kirby franchise, we have Kirby, we have King Dedede, we have Meta Knight, but then we add Bandana Waddle Dee. I know Bandana Waddle Dee is so far is like one of those characters people are either super for or super against. It's actually really funny to see. But I'm all for it. Once again, we round out one of Nintendo's bigger franchises with a nice solid 4 character representation. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with like this 4 group, but I am. At least for like the bigger franchises. So adding in Bandana Waddle Dee, I mean, just his inclusion as in so many past Kirby games, not past, but like most recent Kirby games in Kirby Star Allies, Return to Dreamland, he's become the quintessential 4th character of the Kirby franchise alongside King Dedede and Meta Knight. I almost cut him from this list because I thought maybe there was a slight chance Sakurai wouldn't want to add another Kirby character, because for those who don't know, Sakurai created Kirby, but then he gave up the rights, sold the rights, something like Nintendo just took over. And I thought Bandana Waddle Dee was just a new character that the newer developers of Kirby created, but no, he actually came out a lot earlier. It's just only in more recent games that he started having a more prominent role, and he became like his own character. Plus, we don't have a spear-wielding character, so we can also add that to the list of reasons why Bandana Waddle Dee should be in. So that cuts it from like the big franchises. Now we're going to get into the smaller ones that only have like a couple character representations, plus all the little one-offs. So, Kid Icarus, we're going to stick with Pit. Going to stick with Palutena. Please update Palutena's moveset to something that includes, like, she had good moves in her custom moves. Also, Sakurai, please no custom moves. That was annoying. Or if you do, please make them more easily acquirable. That grind was so annoying to try to get custom moves. But her base moveset was so bland and boring, and she had so many interesting custom moves. So please update her moveset to something else. whether it be some of those custom moves you had in Smash 4 or something new entirely, but please update her. And once again, no Dark Pit unless they decide to give him a whole new moveset. But I do think we could use another villain, and a lot of people thought this was going to be a DLC character and being Hades, being from the Kid Icarus franchise. But yeah, I'm always for more villains. I don't know too much about Hades, except, you know, outside of mythology, but hey, we could always use more villains. And Kid Icarus has gotten slightly bigger because of Kid Icarus Uprising, so why not give some more representation? So moving on to Star Fox. Of course, we got Fox, we got Falco. We got to bring Wolf back once again. We need more villains. We do need more villains in this game because they're just so interesting. And plus, why was he cut? Why was he cut? Because he was more than a clone, because his moveset was actually, I mean, they still functioned the same way essentially, but they were different enough to not really call him a clone. So keep some of that, change a couple other things, and bring Wolf back. And then, of course, let's just throw in Crystal, just because we need more females in the game. That's always the thing with these kind of games. Need more women and need more villains. Where are the female villains? That's what we need. So bringing Crystal, once again, you can add this as a more representation throughout the franchise, because Crystal hasn't really had a starring role in a Star Fox game since I think her original one. So, but that, of course, rounds out another kind of big franchise of Nintendo to nice round 4. So let's just knock out a couple random one-offs. We got Rob. Got to bring back Duck Hunt. I love Duck Hunt so much. Please bring him back. He's such a unique character, and plus, it's just hilarious. The Wii Fit Trainer, once again, is an amazing addition. Only Sakurai made her work, and I want her back. Plus, representing something in the Nintendo's history when their whole Wii Fit thing was a bigger thing than it is now. And of course, how can you forget Mr. Game & Watch? You gotta bring him back. So going back to a little bit more smaller franchise, we got Little Mac, and if we do add another villain, if we add a Punch-Out character, we gotta be King Hippo. I mean, is there really any other choice besides King Hippo if you were gonna have a Little Mac villain? So make him like the opposite of Little Mac, where he's like really fast, but hits hard. Maybe King Hippo can be slower and maybe punches. Actually, now I think about it, that's not the opposite. You would just be slower. You'd be like a worse Little Mac. Never mind, don't take my suggestion. Just add King Hippo. Then we got the Villager. We need to keep him around because, not only because it's hilarious, but also Animal Crossing is so big now. It's gotten so big in the past couple of years, and just because of that, we need to add more representation, and we should go Isabelle. Once again, female, need to add more of that representation. And you made a Villager moveset out of almost nothing. I'm sure you could do the same thing with Isabelle. Plus, I think she does have a little bit more to her that you could base off of, but once again, Animal Crossing gone big, you can get some more representation out of that. And then we get bring back Ness, Lucas. Once again, Lucas, probably not going to be cut after the backlash of cutting him from Smash 4. And technically, since Bayonetta is now second party, we can suspect that she would be back. She's probably not going to be a DLC. She'll be probably right off the bat. And just because she's second party, we might even add Jean. I'm not too sure how to pronounce this character. I've yet to get to playing the Bayonetta games, but I do know of her after watching a couple people play. So just because she is technically second party now and not really a third party anymore because of Bayonetta 2 and the upcoming Bayonetta 3 being Nintendo Switch exclusive, she is second party. So that means they could add in a character to boost, what's the word I'm looking for? Like attention to the Bayonetta franchise by having Bayonetta and maybe another character. Maybe not even Jean. I'm just going to call her Jean. I'm sorry if that's not her name. Jean, maybe add her, or maybe add a villain. So it's something that you can do, that Sakurai can do to bring more representation to a franchise, to expose people to it, because maybe not all the Nintendo fans are into the whole Bayonetta thing. Maybe you can make him, though. Moving on to some more familiar franchise, we got Samus, and then we probably will still have Zero Suit Samus as a separate character just because the movesets are so entirely different. So I do really like that idea. I hated the whole Final Smash change thing from Brawl. So keep them separate. It was a good idea. Keep it. And then let's just throw Ridley in there just because it's Ridley, just because he is the joke of the Smash predicting community is Ridley. I mean, you can also say King K. Rool, but I don't know. I replaced him with Funky Kong just because Funky Kong is more relevant, unfortunately, than King K. Rool. But let's just throw Ridley in there. maybe the upcoming new Metroid Prime 4 will make Ridley more relevant to make Sakurai seem like, okay, maybe we should add this character now. Of course, we got Captain Falcon, and we have the new Inkling confirmed. Got to bring back the Ice Climbers because there's no longer that limitation of the 3DS that made them get cut in the first place. So bring back the Ice Climbers. Then we got Shulk, and this is pretty much the next shoe-in. Like, they're near the top of everyone's list, but it's Rex and Pyra. Rex and Pyrrha? I don't know if it's Pyra or Pyrrha, I'm sorry, for you Xenoblade fans out there. Don't have really much to say about them, but they do seem like shoe-in just because Xenoblade is gotten really big. And I think they even said Sakurai himself has said how much he really likes Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So, yeah, they're shoe-ins. But will they replace Shulk? I don't think so, just because Shulk has such an interesting moveset. And Sakurai prioritizes interesting movesets. So I do think just because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the more prominent one, and Shulk is no longer really around, that he'll still keep him around just because of the unique moveset. And then speaking of interesting movesets, why not Chibi-Robo? Chibi-Robo has now, what, 2-3 games now? And how has he not even had an assist trophy in Smash Brothers? So, give him the Olimar treatment, make him bigger, match up with the rest of the cast, and he gets such an interesting moveset. Why has Chibi-Robo just been forgotten about? Come on. And then speaking of another character that's just kind of been there, but hasn't really gotten kind of representation, even though he's had a couple games now, and that's Dylan. I do think Dylan possibly has a chance of getting the Little Mac treatment, going from an assist trophy to a full-fledged character, because he's now, I think he's on his 3rd game. So at least Dylan has an acknowledgement in the Smash Brothers franchise, unlike Chibi-Robo. Speaking of Olimar, gotta bring back Olimar back. No Alpha or anything like that, because there's nothing to differentiate them. So unfortunately, Pikmin's not going to get any more representation. Then I'm going to put Ribbon Girl here. Some people have said the development, and I think there was even a quote from Sakurai or someone on the Smash team saying it's still too early to say, is this character worth putting in Smash because it's so new? But I think you could almost say the same thing for Splatoon. I mean, Splatoon's not that much older than ARMS, but yet we already have the Inklings in Smash. So I do, if anything, they might be a DLC character just because ARMS is so big, or they're going to be like a last-minute addition. But you can also put Ribbon Girl or Spring Man here. They're kind of interchangeable. And then just a random pick from out of nowhere, just because so many people want him, Isaac. I know Sakurai loves to put in some older, underrepresented characters sometimes, just from an unknown franchise. Or not really unknown, but a franchise that hasn't been touched upon in a long time. And so I think Isaac from Golden Sun could be that. Same thing with Takamaru. At least Takamaru has had at least some representation. Both as an assist trophy. Actually, Isaac also was an assist trophy. But Takamaru also had some representation in Nintendo Land now. And plus, he loves to bring old NES, SNES characters back and make them new characters. So, Takamaru is also a possibility. And now let's get to some more interesting ones. I do think Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man will all return. Just because they're so heavily associated with the same sphere of gaming as Mario is. And you don't go after these characters for one game and then, like, what, has it only been, like, what, 4 years since Smash 4? Just a couple years later, not bring them back again. So I do think they will return. It's just too big of a monument of a gaming achievement to get all these characters in this one game and not continue that. But I do think characters like Ryu is not going to make it back. I think that was just more of a one-time fun thing. And then, just speaking of third party, I do think a Rabbids based on the success of Mario plus Rabbids, but you can also, instead of a Rabbid, because that is kind of a generic thing, maybe instead of Rabbid, Rayman. So it's like Rabbids / Rayman. I do think a Ubisoft rep like that is a possibility. Rayman I would much prefer because he at least has some interesting character traits as a character, unlike a Rabbid, which is kind of like a blank canvas of chaos. But I do think that something like that is a real possibility. Moving on to some more underappreciated characters, Bomberman has always been on the list of a lot of characters that's kind of forgotten about, but he has had a recent game on the Switch, so maybe that brought this character back to representation to Sakurai. Plus another Konami representation. It is Konami, right? I'm not mixing that up with someone else. Instead of Snake coming back. And then to represent the indie scene, I do think Shovel Knight might have a possibility. I mean, we do have a Shovel Knight amiibo, so they can backtrack on that. They don't have to make another one, kind of like what they're doing with the Inkling. But I do think Shovel Knight has a real possibility. He just got really big. I mean, the face of the indie scene, at least for Nintendo, is Shovel Knight. He's so big. He's everywhere. Oh my gosh, Shovel Knight. But let's get into some even crazier ideas. So, I know this article gets thrown around a lot. These quotes get thrown around, but I do think Banjo-Kazooie has a chance. I don't say it's a really good chance, but I do think there is a chance for Banjo-Kazooie. Because it's been in those words from Phil Spencer at Xbox that he says he would love to have Banjo-Kazooie in Smash were around during Smash 4, but now a couple years have gone by, maybe they talked about it. So I do think there is a small possibility that something has been worked out. And let me throw something at you guys. Here's an interesting idea. What if Xbox said, okay, we'll give you Banjo-Kazooie, but we need to have another... But you need to throw something else in there. We need some more representation. Well, who else would be an interesting representation that could come from Xbox and also be fitting into the Smash Brothers? Master Chief? No. Not Master Chief, but Steve from Minecraft. Think about it for a second. Microsoft owns Minecraft, and it's a gaming icon. Say what you will about Minecraft, but you cannot deny how much of a gaming icon Minecraft is. And it's like I said, it's from Microsoft. Maybe they bundled together with Banjo-Kazooie. Minecraft is big on the Nintendo platforms. I mean, it's got re-released on Nintendo platforms 3 or 4 times. Wii U, 3DS, new 3DS, Switch. How many... Nintendo is fully in on the whole Minecraft thing. And plus, Sakurai loves to put gaming icons in Smash. I mean, that's why we got Ryu, that's why we got Cloud, that's why we got all these characters. Sonic, Megaman, Pac-Man. Sakurai loves to make Smash Bros. A celebration of gaming icons. And you cannot deny that Minecraft is a big part of the gaming industry. It's huge. It maybe not as huge as it once was, but it is huge, still huge, and will continue to be huge. So, I honestly could see it happening. Now, whether that deal that I said, here, have Banjo-Kazooie, but here, you're forced to have Steve as well, is entirely maybe something made up by me, but I could see it happening. I could see something like that happening, like, I don't know. I'm trying to put into words how I think it could go down, but I just would not be surprised. Like, I could see it happening. Anyway, so now that that's out of the way, let's talk about Cloud again. Like I said, Sakurai loves his gaming icons. Cloud is a major figurehead of the gaming franchise, Final Fantasy, and all that. But also because of the Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out. Once again, promotion for an upcoming thing that's most likely going to have a port to the Switch. So, was originally going to cut Cloud because of, he's not that big of a Nintendo thing, but then I thought, oh wait, the remake is coming out, and also this other stuff, so I thought, Cloud could work back in there. And just to bundle with Cloud, let's throw in Sora. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts for a second. Kingdom Hearts is coming out, hopefully soon, within the next year, hopefully. And Sora just fits, and once again, Sakurai loves his gaming icons. And Kingdom Hearts, while sparse throughout gaming, it's big. It is huge in the gaming industry. And why not promote both Final Fantasy VII? Square Enix says, hey, here's Cloud again, but here's also Sora. Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out, and I do think a Switch port is inevitable. I mean, it's probably going to be like 6 months after the initial release with PlayStation and Xbox, but I do think it's coming. And so why not promote this thing that's going to be a big moment in the gaming industry when Kingdom Hearts 3 finally releases. So why not add to that hype by also saying, hey, before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes to the Switch, or maybe even have its same day release. Think about that. Same day release, Kingdom Hearts 3 port to the Switch, and also Sora as maybe a DLC character in Smash Brothers. Think about that. That is something I just thought of that on the spot. And then here's some runner-ups that I kind of threw in there, but kind of eliminated at the last second. I had Birdo in there, basically because she didn't have any really interesting moveset potential, so I eliminated her. Same thing with, well, actually, no, not same thing, but Chrono, I just think is just more obscure than Isaac, especially because Isaac wasn't assist trophy. I said maybe Robin could stick around just because of his interesting moveset, and Sakurai loves that, so he might stick Robin in there to keep him just for his unique moveset. I almost put in Simon Belmont, but I replaced him with Bomberman just because Bomberman is more relevant than the Castlevania series, especially on Nintendo consoles. And Tom Nook, I almost had him as the secondary Animal Crossing representation, but I went with Isabelle just because, I don't know, Isabelle just seems to be more popular than Tom Nook, even though Tom Nook is greatly, I don't want to say loved in the Animal Crossing, at least from what I know of the Animal Crossing franchise, but he's a big face of the franchise. So anyway, that is it, guys. This is not what I think the roster is going to be, but I do think this is the list of characters that have the highest probability of being in the game. Like, I do not think there is a single character out there that is going to be in the game that is not on my roster. Like, if they do, here's a nice bet for you guys, for those who are watching. Leave a comment of what I should do for my channel if they add a character that is not on this list right now. Now, I'm not talking about clones either, you know, like Dark Pit, Dr. Mario, stuff like that, like those last-minute clones. We're not going to count those, but like a legit, full-fledged character with a unique moveset, if they add in someone that isn't on this list, I'll do something. Whatever you guys want, leave it in the comments. But yeah, if they add in a character who is not here, I'll do it. But I honestly believe these are the characters that have the biggest possibility of being in this game. Like, even if some odder choices like King Hippo, Hades, stuff like that have better chances than any other character I could think of. So, let me guys know what you guys think about my reasoning behind some characters. Also remember that there are some, like, switch in and out characters, you know, like Hector can be replaced with someone else, the Decidueye could be replaced by a Gen A character, the Rabbit can be replaced with Rayman, stuff like that. But I just, like I said, I do believe this is the pool of characters that they're going to pull from. So, tell me what you guys think. Who would you take out, leave in? I mean, take out, leave in, add in, whatever. Yeah, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.